In Las Vegas, an armed civilian stopped an attempted shooter. We can only assume, I suppose, that this attempted shooter would have been a mass shooter. He was carrying an AR-15. He was wearing some kind of military-style helmet, and he broke in. This attempted shooter broke into a luxury condominium complex called Turnberry Towers, and he shot through the glass in the front doors. He entered, there were two sets of doors, as there often are in luxury buildings. It's like you enter the first doors, and then there's a little atrium or a little lobby, and you enter the second doors. He shot through, the attempted shooter shot through the doors, the first set of doors. He then went through the second set of doors, and if you're watching security footage of this, which we will in just a minute, I just want you to know what's going to happen. You see very quickly after he enters the second set of doors, this attempted shooter comes stumbling back through the hole that he had shot through the glass, stumbling all the way out the first set of doors onto the sidewalk, and then you see him begin to crumble. He falls down onto the pavement. This is the video. There's no audio that comes with this. This is just security footage from the condominium. So let's bring this up and I'll walk you through what we're watching here. You can see shots fired through the glass here. You see this shooter then come back. He's wearing a helmet, he's carrying an AR-15, and then suddenly a whole bunch of bullets are aimed at him and he collapses onto the floor. So what exactly did we see there? Well, we saw an armed civilian, what turns out to be reportedly a mailroom employee who was armed, who confronted this shooter before who knows what this guy had planned? We don't know yet exactly what he had planned, if this was random, if this was a targeted attack, who this was. This armed civilian stopped him and turned him away, and this attempted shooter was unable to harm anyone. The only person that ultimately ended up hurt was the attempted shooter. You'd think that this would be a headline across the country. You'd think we'd all be talking about this because we are facing in our country, it is a fact that we are facing what could be even described as an epidemic. We are experiencing a spate of mass shootings. This is something that we did not experience 50 years ago. We are experiencing this cultural phenomenon now, and we are having discussions about how we should stop this. The left is obviously advocating for stupid policies like taking guns away from civilians. Meanwhile, we have a civilian who is legally armed stopping an attempted shooter, which is what you and I advocate for. So perhaps that's the answer right there about why we are not seeing this in the headlines. The Las Vegas Police Department's being super shady about this. A journalist by the name of Amy Swearer from the Daily Signal reached out to ask the police department for more details about who this armed civilian was, what kind of firearm he used, just the details that the police would have that we do not have. We have only this footage from the security tape. And the Las Vegas Police Department is refusing to confirm what even happened. They won't even confirm that this man, this attempted shooter, was shot, even though we can see our own eyes on the security footage, plain as day, that that's what happened. Very shady. In fact, kind of a reminder that the Las Vegas Police Department is the same police department that suspiciously could not solve the mass murderer Stephen Paddock, couldn't find an ideology, couldn't find a motivator after he murdered 60 people in Las Vegas. But this is the kind of story that should be headlining because this civilian is a hero.